jury's verdict is. As I said before, they didn't ask for the job, and we will not praise their verdict, and we will not condemn their verdict. Any outburst, positive, negative, whatsoever, will be direct contempt of court, and you will serve 30 days in jail for each outburst. If you cannot control your emotions, you should leave the courtroom at this time. Mr. Bailiff, please bring in the jury.
It's not showing live.
Oh no. So you turn people over to nothing. Then we'll go to the iPad and see what happened.
All right, can you guys see me? I think we're live now. We got it. We have a verdict. Sorry, let me turn this off. Timer just under an hour once again. Very short. Let me turn off this timer.
Ma'am, I see you're holding paper. Has the jury been able to reach a unanimous verdict?
Yes, sir.
Please hand that to the bailiff.
Handed it to the bailiff.
All right, the verdict appears to be in proper form. Mr. Gregg, if you and your attorneys would come to the podium. The verdicts read as follows. As to count one, we the jury sentence the defendant Carly Madison Gregg to life imprisonment. As to count two, we the jury sentence the defendant Carly Madison Gregg to life imprisonment. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, just as I did with the verdicts of guilt, not trying to be rude. It's the quickest way we can get it done. As to count one, we the jury sentence the defendant Carly Madison Gregg to life imprisonment. Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? On the back row, sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
As to count two, we the jury sentence the defendant Carly Madison Gregg to life imprisonment. On the front row, ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? On the back row, ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, is that your verdict? Sir, is that your
Yes,
verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict? Ma'am, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
And sir, is that your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Verdict appears to be in proper form. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, please exit. I will be there in just a moment to release you, okay? Everyone remain seated while the jury exits.
I believe she just got sentenced to life in prison without parole. As the judge said earlier, life means life in Mississippi. Much more composed, Carly, during the sentencing than in the verdict.
Ms. Gregg, please come to the podium. Your sentences will be as follows. As to count one, the jury having fixed the verdict at life imprisonment, this court will sentence you to life imprisonment. As to count two, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. As to count three, you'll be sentenced to 10 years to serve. You'll be required to pay court cost fees and assessments in the amount of $431.50. Ms. Gregg, regarding any appeal of your judgment and conviction and order of sentence and in accordance with Wright v. State 577, Southern 2nd 387, the court wants to inform you that pursuant to Rule 4E of the Mississippi Rules of Appellate Procedure, the notice of appeal required by Rule 3 of such rule shall be filed with the circuit clerk within 30 days after the date of the denial of any motion for a new trial, or the date of imposition of sentence, whichever is later. Pursuant to Rule 4E, if you make a timely motion under the Mississippi Rules of Criminal Procedure for a judgment of acquittal notwithstanding the verdict of the jury or for a new trial under Rule 25.1, the time for appeal shall run from the entry of the order denying such motion. Finally, Rule 25.1 subsection C provides that a motion for a new trial must be made within 10 days of entry of the judgment, which includes both adjudication of guilt and sentence. Should you make a decision on the record to appeal, that decision will stand unless a written statement to the contrary signed by you and your attorney is filed with the court. Should you make a decision to waive appeal, that decision will stand unless you give written notice to the court and your attorney prior to expiration of the time in which you perfect an appeal. Should no decision to appeal be made by you, your failure to express a desire to appeal shall be considered a waiver of your right to appeal, and that waiver will stand unless you give written notice to the court and to your attorney prior to expiration of the time in which to perfect an appeal. Have you made a decision to appeal your conviction and sentence? All right. Court will be in recess.
Your Honor, I need clarification. I apologize. On the
Sentences will run concurrent.
The sentences run concurrently. And there we go. We're done. She's sentenced. She's entering the jail system now. When she leaves, that will be the last time she wears a street clothes, unless possibly she's allowed to do that at a parole hearing, which my understanding is will not be happening in her lifetime unless the laws change. I did not hear the answer on whether they will appeal or not, but that concludes the trial of Carly Gregg. The family is sitting there sort of stunned. Well, the bailiffs are wearing blue jeans. Bailiffs in blue jeans. Wow. Only in Mississippi. The family has not stood up. Well, the grandparents are. And the feed drops. Let's see. Looks like the grandparents are thanking the attorneys. Heath Smiley has turned his back on the court, talking to family. Heath had some harsh things to say about the police, the investigators, the state. He's not a fan of this process they've been through. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do here as far as appeal goes. They're standing around the courtroom, but there's really nothing to be done at this point. There's nothing left to do. Wow. A few court watchers, a few family, friends, reporters left. But the jury, in the period of under 3 hours, both convicted and sentenced to life without parole. Whew. Got some reporters, looks like, talking to the prosecutor up there in the well. That's interesting. Very different courtroom. This is a different layout than we've seen almost anywhere. But reporter's now trying to talk to defense. Trying to ask some questions. You can see him up there with his notepad. Looks like it's probably a newspaper reporter. They're making a statement. All right, no winners here. There's very rarely are there winners at the end of a trial. But one thing that the jury of Mississippi made perfectly clear is they mean business, and they don't put up with crap. That was a quick verdict on a serious case, and Greener says, I'm a winner. Greener's won the internet. Congratulations, Greeners. You were first in chat this afternoon. No one is more grateful than Donnie for you taking over for that. Oh, my goodness. I realize a lot of people have some things to say on this one. I think we need to cool off before we say it. I've got mixed emotions. We just sent a 15-year-old to prison for the rest of her life. Not we, but as a jury, speaking from the jury. It was heavy. It's not something that there's no celebration going on any side. And the family who's been victimized first, now probably more so because of their support for the defendant, is victimized yet again. And will continue to be as this goes on. So very, very sad situations. Bailiffs in Blue Jeans is the new country song, says John Davenport. If it is, I thought of it first. Yeah. You want to talk? Sorry.
Not really talk about this, but just kind of ask for a little speech from you. As a reminder, why do we watch these? What is the point of this when it is heart-wrenching and exhausting and hard for everybody involved, but we still do this? Why?
For me, I love the law. This is something I'm fascinated with. It's a looking into the legal system is in a way looking at society as a whole and seeing what we're okay with and what we're not, and how that changes, and how we deal with any deviation outside the norms there. I like that. I like the chess battle that's often played in a courtroom, as you have everyone with the same rule book and one referee who are trying to jockey for position, and that's intriguing for me. I love watching that. I also, think it's educational that we as people in general are better off knowing what the courts are doing. I think this applies to all of government, but as we're a Pickles Not Politics channel, we stick to the court side of things instead of the lawmaking, the legislative side, or executive. But a lot of reasons. For me, this is just, it's fascinating. I'm a people watcher. This in court, you get to see people in a lot of different situations. And it allows me an opportunity to think and reflect and think, what would I do here? It gives me, I guess I watch court for the same reason you read books. Is that fair?
Did my book reading just get challenged on its value?
No, it was, it gives you an opportunity to think new ideas and see things differently. I love the community because I learn a ton every time we watch a trial. First of all, anytime there's a trial that has a new element to it, and it could be a profession, it could be a crime, it could be a mental diagnosis. No matter what it is, every time there's a trial, somebody in the community probably has some experience firsthand with that. And we'll get people that come out and they'll share experience, and I learn from that. And I feel like I'm a better person, more educated, and can make a better decision going forward about anything that might be impacted by that particular thing. So it helps a ton.
Yeah, that is interesting. I think that it looked at from that point of view, it is one of the ways to stretch and grow and improve in life is to be a little more empathetic and understand what people are experiencing in the most traumatic moments of their lives, whether they be the victim or the accused or the family of whoever. So that is true. It's tough sometimes to get in their shoes and not judge them, but I think it is helpful to be able to see people and how they deal with hard things.
And I like the accents. That's
you like the car wrecks?
I spent some time over in England, and in England you can drive 20 miles and the accent changes. It's not quite as drastic.
I
here
thought
in
you
the
said
United States.
accident.
Oh, accents.
Oh, yeah,
It was
yeah.
my accent making it hard to understand.
No,
what
my
I was
ears are
saying.
no bueno.
And you don't have headphones on, so that's
Yes.
a problem. I love hearing. I'm just seeing, into different parts of the country and people's lives. It's very unique.
Yeah, and also you get to see the personality of the area. Who was your caller who was like, Mississippi don't play?
Yeah.
That's something to say about the
This
identity
might
of
be
that
Sarah
state.
right now. Hang on one second.
Call from Lizzie Dog.
It's not Sarah.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Lizzie Dog, I thought you were Sarah. I told everyone I wasn't going to take calls, but now that I've played now that I've played your name, I feel bad just hanging up on you. But I can't.
No, I can. If you don't want to take calls, I have to leave anyway soon. So
I'll let you
I
be
won't
really
stay
quick.
long.
You get to represent everybody in one phone call.
Oh gosh! Oh my
please,
gosh!
Please be
The weight of the
thorough.
world. No, I always find these tough because I watch like the kids in prison and things like that, and I'm like, obviously the brains aren't fully developed and things like that, and irrational thinking, and kids don't know how to cope properly, and I don't know. I caught bits and pieces of the trial. I don't know, I guess, what caused her, if she snapped or if they're having argument, or I don't know if she ever disclosed that or anything of the sort. But obviously what she did was not the correct solution to whatever argument or whatever, whatever was going on in her life. Yeah. I don't know if she saw that as a solution, but it's not a logical solution. She's smart enough to know that. I mean, I don't know.
I'm with you. It's confusing. Like you said, there are some things I don't think we'll ever get the answer to. Even if Carly were to sit down and tell us, I'm not sure if that would satisfy our question in the area.
Yeah.
But
Well, you look at. We could talk about school shooters. The same thing. Picked on, bullied, what have you, and their irrational reaction is to hurt other people. So. Obviously, as you get older, you learn how to cope with things. You learn that the proper way to deal with things is not through violence and not through overreacting and not through anger. And adults still struggle with that. Look at road rage and look at, adults still get, in trouble for murder and snap and all that stuff. So that still happens. But anyway, it's really tough though. Life in prison for the rest of her life. Because she's going to grow. And anyway, that's tough. To me, it's tough.
I think it is hard, and it leaves me generally after a trial like this, I end up laying in bed at night staring at the ceiling thinking about it and wondering what
she knew it was wrong.
Wonder all the questions that we don't have answers to.
Yes, but she knew it was wrong, and she made calculated decisions to do what she did. If she had just shot her mom and went, oh my God, what the heck did I do, and grabbed the phone, called 911, started crying, and reacted that way, maybe there'd be some.
I agree.
Then she immediately comes out and texted and did what she did, no emotion, and she's like singing or humming or whatever, and she's like, "Come on, dogs, let's go outside." It's just like, what? Like,
yeah, the gunshot, that sound, that should have shocked her back into reality a lot better than just cold water in a sewer drain. 45 to an hour later, it didn't resonate with me very much.
That has psychopathy or psychopath brain, screaming all over it, like no empathy and things like that. Anyway, but I'll let you go.
Yeah,
so,
I appreciate it.
We could talk all day on that.
Yeah, thank you for the call. Thanks for representing everyone's viewpoints in one call like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You saved so many people 25 cents on the call.
25 cents. Well, I'm calling from a payphone. I'm calling collect.
Of course.
You didn't hear that on
I
when I
accept
first
the
called.
charges.
You didn't hear that.
I accept the charges.
Yep, exactly.
Thank you very much, Lizzie.
All right.
Good talking to you.
Bye.
Bye. Awesome. I will say a lot of times at the end of this, at the end of a trial, I like to look at this and try to think, what can I learn? Or how can I be a better person because of this? Or, how can I be a better parent? Or what should we as society do to fix this problem? Okay. And I don't think this gets perilously close to the not Pickles category. But I don't think that making a new law fixes everything. I don't think that we just need a law against that and ban this and ban that. I don't think that fixes it. And so that's not my go-to when I look at that. In some cases, yeah, it's like, maybe society needs to look at that. There are things that society has not made laws about yet that we're going to have to do in the near future. And probably a lot of them have to do with AI. Okay, that's something that's brand new on the forefront. You go on social media and you can scroll through and watch videos of things that never happened. And they look real. AI is that good. There are going to be some laws about that coming forward. But
And actually, that I've never thought about it before, but that is going to have an direct impact on these cases. That so often we're no longer asking, did they do it? Because we have some sort of video footage that tells us whether or not they did it. Now with AI coming on the scene and being so very convincing, is that still going to have that same level of impact? Or are we going to say, yeah, but is that AI?
we can no longer believe what we see. That's where it comes down to. The new forensic technologists are going to be analyzing video to see if it's real or not.
Will they be able to tell?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Michelle Mo, thank you very much. I love reading and watching court. Thanks, RA. Always so respectful and so and real. My favorite channel, hands down. Thanks to you and your mods. Thank you.
Did you
Mods
see
are
what
wonderful.
Thomas said? He's like, I don't even like true crime. I just like a Recovery Addict.
If Thomas had his way, it would be podcast every day. and arguably, that's probably a better solution. But Similicious, I'm not sure exactly where we're going next on this. Obviously, Sarah Boone is coming up in a couple of weeks. That's the next big one. There are a couple other trials I've got to look at before we commit to another. But not sure. People couldn't handle the dad jokes. It would be all dad jokes, a whole day of dad jokes. My Air Force son, retired son, just got his AI certification for his new job, cybersecurity.
Yeah, we've got a kid who will probably go into that.
Cybersecurity or cybersecurity, either one, probably a good job. Josh, I've got to get him pulled up. It takes me a little bit to do that. We'll probably right now give you guys an early weekend. That's what we're going to do.
So you can do all your early weekend things, patch the roof,
No,
spray the house.
I've got the gig. I've got a gig tomorrow and the next day, and that's going to be. I've got a lot of things to do. We do have we got our new switcher, which I have to say thank you for. This is amazing. This is a brand new switcher. It is identical to the one we have right here, except for the plugs on the back. The one on this one on the back has 10 HDMI plugs. This one has 12 SDI plugs, which are going to open up doors for what we do. It actually speeds things up a little bit. We change some of our cameras around, and it will cut out 8 milliseconds of delay. It helps on the retiming, gives me more output so I can send video to different places, and all that fun stuff. So yeah, this person's being persistent.
Call from
This is how we parent.
Jennifer.
Persistence pays off. How are you doing, Jennifer?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. I keep saying no
Good.
phone calls, and then I take them. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm calling from Canada, and I'm just wondering what people's
Canada.
opinion.
Yes.
Yes, I'm just wondering what people's opinion of the parents just leaving the gun loaded and having, you knew that your child had some mental health issues, and they seem to think that having a gun, that a child could access.
This
To me,
is
it's very beyond, we have very strict gun rules in Canada. You can't have a handgun in your house like that. I understand that, obviously it's very different in the States and people have the right to have them, but
yeah, I will tell you.
Kind of, in my opinion, it feels like you should have some responsibility to lock them up. Like kids that go and shoot up the schools now, their parents are being, held responsible. And I'm wondering it was never even brought up. And I'm wondering what you think about that.
Well, I will tell you that you're going to start a wildfire right now. That's okay. This is one of those topics that I'm on the fence on. Not in some areas. Some areas I'm very firm. I do believe that it's okay for citizens to own firearms. I personally own a firearm, but I also believe that
I do too.
as an owner,
I
I'm
don't,
responsible for that gun, whether I'm carrying it or not. At any time it's out, that I'm responsible for that. So,
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering. Like, but I'm like, do you think there was a reason why it was never brought up at all in the trial? Like, is that something they weren't allowed to talk about? Because I find it kind of odd that it wasn't even mentioned on either side.
Jennifer,
It was just obvious
thrilled.
they had one, and it was, but nothing.
I'm thrilled that you said the word about during your call, because I love Canadians saying that word. I don't think it was brought up. If this would have been a trial against the parents, for instance, like we saw in the Crumbly trial, it would be brought up.
Yeah.
But in this case, the elements of the crime, this wasn't something that the juvenile, Carly, it wouldn't be a crime she's committed. So it just wasn't a part of this trial. It's part of the bigger discussion, for sure. Availability to a firearm had a major impact on what happened there on March 19th earlier this year.
Well, because it would have never happened without it. I mean, even if she was in some kind of psychosis or not, even if she just really wanted to kill her mother, she would have had to go to a lot more effort to do so if she didn't have access to a gun.
Yeah.
It
might be hard for some people to understand, especially if you're from a place or from a background where firearms are not the norm, where they're carried by police and by hunters, and pretty much that's about it, or military.
Well, and I know in Mississippi, and like I'm Canadian, but my parents were both American, and one of them was from Louisiana, and everybody there, like, it's not, most people have them in their cars, and it's just a natural part of their
it is so ingrained in society that oftentimes discussions about removing it in some way or putting restrictions on it get a lot of pushback. And that's where it gets into the politics, not Pickles. We can't really go too far into that.
Well, and I understand that. I just was I just found it quite alarming that it wasn't spoken of at all.
The only part we heard in the trial
and got it.
about why the gun was loaded was that the mom was in fear of her ex.
Of the ex, yeah.
And
it was, and the stepfather said it. Didn't he say it had been there for 2 years? They hadn't touched it in 2 years.
Yeah, and this is one of those where he's like, "We've never had a problem with we tried to get Carly to go shooting. She doesn't like it." It never registered. But at the same point, you're still responsible. What if it was one of Carly's friends that had found a gun?
Well, exactly.
I think as a gun owner, I don't like the laws being changed to punish and convict, but I think there's a level of responsibility that's just morally right to do. That's kind of the way I look at it too. Sure, you have the right to have it. That's great, but you should. Oops. I just cut you off. Hang on.
You need to have a license. You need to, go through all the things, but to have a gun, it just seems like you can just show up and take her away.
Interesting.
All right.
You started a fire, but thank you for calling from Canada. So I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
All right. Have a good one, Jennifer.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate the super chat here, the call here saying obviously they can't charge the mom. She's deceased. I think it was the dad's gun. If we go back and listen carefully, I think it was his gun that she used for self-defense. That was how I heard it anyway. All right. I do hear there's a police chase. I'm not going to jump there right now. That's a huge jump. Plus, every single time we do a police chase, I get a copyright strike or claim, and it just makes more work for me. So I like to have separate streams where I can handle it very cleanly, if that's all right. Last call is Ricky Watson. He's going to be last word of the day. Here we go.
Call from
Ricky Watson.
Ricky, my friend. I'm giving you the privilege of being the last caller of the day.
Okay, well, I thought since your little lady's right there beside you, I just ask you two questions.
Mm-hmm.
How did y'all grow up to learn how to spell Mississippi?
I have to sing the song in my head. You can't hear. My wife can't hear. I'm the only one that can hear you. This is Ricky Watson, and he says, how did you guys grow up to learn how to spell Mississippi? And I have to say, MISSISSIPPI in my head. That's the only way I can do it. And I typed it today using that same method. How about you?
Okay. Now, this is the way I grew up. It was M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I. And that's the way I learned how to spell Mississippi.
M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I. That doesn't run off the tongue as MISSIPPI.
At any rate, that's the only two questions I asked, and that your little lady was on there with you.
How did you learn how to spell it? What's your secret? You just memorize it? Everything?
I did it the same way you did it.
Yeah. She's normal like me, Ricky.
Oh, okay.
It's the rest of the world that's weird.
MISSISSIPPI says misconduct. I guess there are 3 ways now.
Oh, that's Annie.
Thank you very much, Ricky. Good job.
All right. Hey, I'll let you run. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bug you.
Oh, you're good. It's always good talking to you. Thank you, my friend.
All right, bud. Bye.
All right. With that, we're going to wrap things up here and close out. I have a gig this weekend, and it's an audio-video gig, so I'm excited about that. Once it's done, I think I'll be swapping out the new switcher for this one. I had 2 more audio problems today with our old switcher, so I'm excited to get that switched out. It saves me a ton of headache. But my weekend's going to be quite busy, and somewhere in there I have to fix the roof.
We have someone coming to look at it, but we just have to not have leaking until then.
We have someone coming to look at it. Good luck. Yeah. I think we even have some shingles down in the basement. We can just go up there.
Oh, they're all over our lawn.
Okay, we got shingles all over the yard. We can just put back up. You guys, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again Monday morning, either with court hopping or a new trial. We might do some catch up. I know there's a couple trials going on. I think there's like a supermarket murder thing going on. I have to look into that one. I don't know. I'm not going to commit to anything yet, but there's some other trials. I can tell you we will not do Young Thug. We're not going to Young Thug.
But you could. You have 7 more months to make that decision.
Yeah, don't rush me on this one. We've got time. We might cover some of the spicy filings and things. I know there's some more things going on in Sarah as it gets closer to being a trial. We've heard that the judge just barely ruled and said yes, he's going to allow the self-defense in, which means Sarah Boone will testify. Period. She has to get self-defense. No one else can say the things that need to be said in order for self-defense to be brought in. Anyway, have yourselves a great weekend. Eat some chocolate. I'll eat some more. We'll see you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.